No matter how hard boxers try, they will never come close to heavyweights in terms of the spectacle of knockouts, and today I will prove it to you.
As King Kong trudges forward, a right hand, down goes on! With real, minimum effort, shot. He lights out, Dave Conwell swept in the ring. I think he's going to stop it. And Alexander Usyk.
At all times for the big boys to Petkin with a right hand and a left hook. Lays out David Price, the towel's in. He won't make it, and it is Alexander Petkin.
Good on, doesn't he?
Oh, wow, bang!
Whoa.
Big right hand from Fabio Wadley, and that might be all over.
Friends, today's video will be dedicated to the top 10 knockouts in the history of the heavyweight division. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and leave comments in 4 words. Well, let's get started. Kubrat Pulev, Vladimir Klitschko. For a whole 9 years, no heavyweight on the planet could challenge the champion status of Vladimir Klitschko. The unbeatable Ukrainian led the division in 2006 and defeated everyone who had contender status, even indirectly. Throughout that time, while Klitschko was on the throne, fans had only one complaint: couldn't he fight in a more entertaining way? Indeed, Vladimir's precise style with an emphasis on the jab is hard to call thrilling, so people can understand. On the other hand, knockout highlights from fighters like him are much more surprising, and that's exactly why I included Vladimir's defense against Kubrat Pulev in this top 10. I don't know what happened that night, but it seemed like the Samoan fury of David Tua possessed Vladimir's left hook. Every time Klitschko landed that punch, Pulev seemed to wobble. Not only did the contender go down in the first round, but he managed to get back on his feet.
He's making it pay Tim early on.
Oh, no! Pulev is down, and this could be it inside the first round.
In addition to the powerful left hook, the Ukrainian distinguished himself with his right, catching Kubrat in the 3rd round and scoring another knockdown.
American fans will watch this. There's the left hook and he's down.
Realizing his helplessness, the Bulgarian sought refuge in the clinch, and the champion himself didn't mind engaging in close quarters. The frequent clinches of the heavyweights caused the crowd's murmur to grow, but in the 5th round, everything fell silent. Vladimir Klitschko delivered a lightning-fast hook and sealed the deal with a one-punch knockout.
Oh, look at that left hand again, and that is it. Surely Pulev is not going to get up from that. He is out for the count. What a left hook. He is over and done. And that is a stunning conclusion. Just when you...
Number 9. Henry Akin, Jeremy Williams. The 90s era, a golden age of boxing, a true treasure trove of great boxers and equally great fights. During that time, the concentration of top contenders vying for the number 1 spot in the rankings exceeded all possible limits, so it's not surprising that many fighters from that era are often forgotten today. One such unjustly forgotten hero is Henry Akin, a British boxer who stayed in the top 10 of the heavyweight division for several years and even reached the top 5, holding the WBO title for a period. He earned his title shot in 1996, facing Jeremy Williams, a fellow top-ranked contender. Jeremy was well aware that there was nothing to gain at a distance against a guy standing 6 feet 7 inches tall, so he tried to close the distance with speed and pressure. Initially successful, Akin found himself in a phone booth, but soon the tide turned and Henry took control with his superior boxing skills. Feeling his advantage in physical strength, he wasn't afraid of clinches and easily dominated them. At the end of the 1st round, he demonstratively pushed his opponent away. In the next 3 minutes, the pressure from the favorite increased, but Jeremy refused to give up and continued to try boxing aggressively.
Combination by Akin. Straight right hand. Uppercut, follows it up with a straight right hand, and he swarms all over Williams.
This led to his downfall. When Williams attempted once again to close the distance, Akin met him in a style reminiscent of George Foreman versus Michael Moorer. 1-2 and the body was ready.
Nice. Oh, down goes Williams! What a shot by Akin out of nowhere!
Straight right hand,
same punch. Set up with the jab, same punch.
Number 8. Fabio Wadley, Richard Lartey. I'm sure you were expecting to see battles between boxing legends in this top 10, or at least between guys you've heard of before, not a performance by a prospect, especially considering what a young heavyweight just starting his professional career can showcase. For an answer, let's turn to Fabio Wadley, a young British talent who entered professional boxing through a reality show. Don't rush to judge him, the young man turned out to be genuinely talented and quickly trainable. As evidence, I invite you to enjoy his super short fight with Richard Lartey. More experienced Richard thought he could deal with the prospect through aggression, but made a miscalculation. Fabio was comfortable stepping back and showering his opponent with super fast punches. Lartey didn't know what to do with such speed, so he went for the clinch, but he couldn't hold the agile opponent for long. In the second 3-minute period, events unfolded even more swiftly. Wadley attacked with his lead hand, disrupting Richard's aim, and then charged with a couple of devastating hooks. The big guy tried to defend himself, but it didn't help. From these blows, he fell as if he had been shot in the head.
On the gridiron, doesn't he?
Oh, wow, bang! Whoa. Big right hand from Fabio Wadley, and that might be all over.
Number 7. Anthony Joshua, Charles Martin. For newcomers, this might be a shock, but there was a time when Anthony Joshua didn't move in circles and didn't pepper jabs but carved a path to opponent's head and delivered terrifying right-hand blows. That's the AJ version before the first fight with Andy Ruiz, and that's the version of the Briton I want to talk about today. In the early stages of Joshua's career, there were many colourful fights, and today I'll discuss his clash with Charles Martin, the young undefeated IBF champion. Joshua first fought for the title against Martin in 2016. The beginning was calm reconnaissance. The British Mr. Olympia took the centre of the ring, carefully working with his lead hand, measuring the distance for the subsequent straight right. Charles did nothing and looked as if he was deathly afraid of the opponent's attacks. In the second round, Joshua started to work more actively and brought in his rear hand. At first, the attacks missed, but soon the straight right found its target.
Right, look for the left. Got it! Right hand on the floor. Martin looks into his corner as if to say, what on earth was that?
Charles took it hard, but quickly recovered. However, it was already irrelevant because Anthony aimed again. Strike! This time, the straight right sent the champion almost into the corner of the ring, and it was immediately clear that it was over.
40 left in this second round, and he's down again! And Joshua on the brink here, strolls into the corner as if to say, job done.
Number 6. Luis Ortiz, Razvan Khanu. Cuban heavyweights rarely cross paths. Most often, natives of Cuba are tall and robust guys like Yuriokis Gamboa or Esrislandi Lara, but Luis Ortiz is an exception. This heavyweight southpaw, standing over 6 feet tall, is an example of a natural heavyweight, albeit not the most muscular. However, who needs a mountain of muscles if you can win without it? Tyson Fury is a testament to that. For several years, Luis dominated the entire heavyweight division until he encountered Deontay Wilder. The skillful veteran easily outboxed his opponent, but eventually fell victim to a decisive blow. The first one to share the ring with Luis after his return from a knockout was Razvan Khanu from Romania. The heavyweights looked cumbersome and unwieldy, but their punches flew very fast and looked dangerous, especially from Ortiz. Khanu observed more and waited, not making rash moves, which was a reasonable strategy when facing a counterpuncher of Ortiz's caliber. On the other hand, tactical maneuvers and a battle for the center of the ring are not the most thrilling spectacle, so in the second act of this play, the crowd began to murmur. It was as if the Cuban heard them and immediately launched an attack. At the beginning, Luis threw a high right to divert attention, then loaded up with a straight left. A clean hit. Despite Khanu attempting to continue the fight after the knockdown, it seemed like there was too much power in the punch.
Fans here at Staples Center. Oh, big left hand! Down goes Khanu! Bang! Right on the butt! Oh my goodness!
Number 5. Alexander Petkin, David Price. For nearly 2 decades, Alexander Petkin boxed with the best heavyweights on the planet. In 2004, he won Olympic gold and maintained a high level of opposition since then. He defeated notable names such as Chris Bird, Hasim Rahman, and Dylan White.
Nothing away from a very good one. What a shot!
The only one who stood his ground against this force was Vladimir Klitschko, but that was in 2013. By 2018, Alexander had an impressive win streak and was gearing up for a new title fight. The only thing left was to defeat the well-known British heavyweight David Price. The two fighters immediately pleased the fans with a high level of boxing. Both were active on their feet, moving their bodies and hands, trying to confuse each other as much as possible. Petkin seemed to do this slightly better. With his speed, he neutralized Price's size advantage and bombarded his opponent's body effectively.
Then he can throw that big right hand on his back foot, tentatively.
That's gone wrong that I need. Body strikes, Derry Matthews.
In response to attacks to the lower levels, David countered with occasional jabs and decent body shots. However, soon this became insufficient. In the third round, Petkin added headshots on the move, and the first left hook sent the British fighter to the canvas.
It will get really fascinating, but Petkin lands a left hook, and David Price is absolutely...
But the finish was still ahead. By the 5th round, it seemed that David had recovered, but Alexander outsmarted him and circumvented his defense with a powerful right hand. Price staggered, attempting to retreat, but was caught off guard by a sudden left hook. The devastating punch not only knocked him out, but also opened a bloody geyser on his face.
Phenomenal times for the big boys. The Petkin with a right hand and a left hook lays out David Price. The tail's in. He won't make it, and it is Alexander Petkin that fight.
Number 4. Evander Holyfield, Buster Douglas. Think Usyk vs Fury is something new in boxing? Think again. Battles between cruiserweight and heavyweight champions have been happening for decades, and one of the most anticipated matchups could have been Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield. Unfortunately, we never got to see their fight at the right time. Iron Mike shockingly lost to Buster Douglas, who, albeit briefly, became the division's king. Everyone knew Douglas was the champion only until his first title defense, but who could be the first to reach him? As a deserving contender, Holyfield was given the chance to be first on the list. The encounter with Buster was scheduled for October. Douglas looked slow and sluggish, while Holyfield moved effortlessly on his feet and attacked sharply. In his attacks, Evander emphasized the double jab or a straight punch, reaching both the head and the opponent's body. Buster couldn't keep up with such an agile opponent, so he elegantly walked around the ring, shifting from foot to foot. Periodically, the champion attempted to attack, but he looked so slow that it was embarrassing, leaving the victory for the challenger only a matter of time. In the third segment, Douglas decided to be creative and unexpectedly attacked with an uppercut, but the blow was red. Holyfield dodged and immediately countered the fake champion with a powerful right straight. It's over.
That time by holding Holyfield. Right hand stuns Douglas.
Caught him going in. He is not going to get up. There goes the heavyweight championship of the world.
Mills Lane with the count.
Holyfield has been named.
Number 3. Oleg Mikheyev, Hasim Rahman. In the mid-90s, the heavyweight division was going through its prime. Fighters battled for every spot in the rankings, and to secure a title shot, one needed to accumulate 20 or more consecutive wins, unless of course you were Mike Tyson. It was in this brutal, primal environment that two young predators crossed paths, Oleg Mikheyev and Hasim Rahman. The Russian had already made a name for himself in the amateur ranks, and as a professional, he faced monsters like Oliver McCall and David Tua. The Rock and the upset he would later pull off is probably more familiar to you, but at that time, Rahman was just a prospect fighting for his place in the sun. The heavyweights fought in completely different styles. Hasim simply wanted to close the distance and deliver a powerful right hand, while Oleg moved much more and worked with his lead hand very quickly. Additionally, Mikheyev's formidable right hand inflicted significant damage on Rahman. The early rounds were very close due to the Rock's activity, but gradually both his energy and power diminished. Against the fatigued American, Mikheyev continued to dance around and deliver blows. By the 8th round, Rahman was completely drained and hung on the ropes to catch his breath. Oleg realized that the moment had come and went on the attack. After flooring his opponent, Mikheyev split his head with a straight right. The knocked out jacked guy tumbled out of the ring, signaling the end of the fight.
Some fights about Rahman has no stamina.
Right hand with Rahman on the floor right next to me. Right next to me. Right next to me.
And he doesn't look like he's going to get up.
No, he isn't. He's not going to get up any.
Number 2. Mike Tyson, Trevor Berbick. No one will argue that in Mike Tyson's career there were dozens of knockouts, each of which could be included in this list, but today I would like to tell you specifically about the rise of Iron Mike. In 1986, the 20-year-old Tyson finally proved his legitimacy as a title contender, amassing a streak of 27 victories, and faced Trevor Berbick, who had recently conquered the WBC title. For Tyson, it was essential not to claim the belt, but also to decisively beat Berbick, the man who had sent Muhammad Ali into retirement. Tyson relied on his left hook, repeatedly hooking Berbick's exposed jaw. Berbick's hands hardly covered the right side of his face, allowing Tyson to shake it with his phenomenal power. But there was no room for complacency. The champion actively fought back and landed shots himself, but the prospect easily absorbed the damage and kept pressing forward. Towards the end of the round, Iron Mike significantly rocked the Canadian, who performed a wobbly dance but did not go down. In the next 3 minutes, Tyson continued to apply pressure, getting closer and preparing his cannons. During the next clash, Mike unleashed a left hook again, but this time it landed maximally hard. Trevor couldn't get up.
Should be able to get up from this. His legs may be shut. They are. As Trevor Berbick falls back in the rope. I don't know if he's going to be able to get there. Bangs the body. Wow, with that uppercut is Tyson. Catches him with a light left hook, and he goes down. He goes down. He should be able to get up from this. His legs may be shut. They are. As Trevor Berbick falls back in the rope.
Number 1. Deontay Wilder, Kelvin Price. There is no universe where Deontay Wilder does not make it into such a top 10. Throughout his career, the former bronze bomber managed to put almost 40 people to sleep, and each of these finishers had equal chances of ending up here. However, luck favored just one, seemingly not the most prominent. In 2012, with a record of 25-0, Deontay had not yet gained his fame and was only fighting for the WBC Continental Championship title. His opponent was the undefeated Kelvin Price. The battle of two giants was supposed to adorn the evening of boxing, but no one expected it to be so spectacular. The guys utilized their massive dimensions and exchanged blows from a distance. There was parity in their lead hand work, so Deontay decided to intensify and began throwing his right, but the opponent was ready and skillfully dodged the punch. The first 2 rounds were evenly contested and not particularly spectacular. The crowd expected a slugfest and monstrous blow from both sides, and they're here playing tactics. The 3rd round started like the previous 2, but this time Kelvin decided to go forward more actively. Deontay did not forgive him for this audacity and immediately punished him with a devastating blow. Wilder put all his power into his sledgehammer, and it was more than enough for the guy.
The Atlantic 2. The shot! Price down and maybe out as the referee administering the count. The right hand delivers just like that. Deontay Wilder picks up his 20.
And that's it. Did you enjoy the video? Then give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Want to see more cool finishes from heavyweights? If yes, be sure to share your opinion in the comments, and then we'll make part 2.